Welcome back, SFL Nation. Welcome back to SFL Nights with AJ Striker. Thank you so much for joining me today or tonight or whenever you decided to hit that play button or turn on that radio dial. I really do appreciate it, y'all. So I'm doing something a little bit differently. I just wanted to kind of pop on and give you the overview of the playoff games because I had another podcast earlier this week that you can check out on YouTube. Basically going over SFLm Week 9 review. Then I had my picks for the playoffs and I had my picks for the champions. So let's see if I was right about that. Alright, so I chose the Albuquerque Adams and the Birmingham Fuel to win their games to make it into the championship. So let's see if I was right. First game up was the number 4 Salt Lake City Rustlers taking 4-4, taking on the number 1 seed Albuquerque Adams sitting at 6-2, and the Adams won 28-20. So I was right about that one. It was a great game to watch. At the half, it was 21-6. So the Adams started off dominating in a major way. And when you look at the numbers, like for passing, they're not that far apart. I mean, Adams had 177 yards passing at that point, and Salt Lake had 75. Rushing was even close with 40 for Salt Lake and 45 for the Adams. Time of possession definitely had an effect because Salt Lake only had the ball for 9 minutes at halftime versus the 12 minutes for Adams. But the turnovers in this game were real. At the half, Salt Lake City had 5 turnovers, 5 interceptions, and the Adams had 4. So they were battling back and forth. Defenses were on point, trying to keep the other team from scoring, trying to give their team a shot at the ball at all costs. But as you can see in the team comparisons for the end of game, it didn't end up that way. So passing for the Salt Lake City Rustlers was 403 yards. Rushing, 46. Total offensive yardage was 449 yards. Time of possession was 20 minutes and 14 seconds with 6 turnovers. The Adams had 249 yards passing, 78 yards rushing for 327 yards total. Their time of possession was 23 minutes and 38 seconds with 5 turnovers. So not only did the Adams hold the ball, get more chances with the ball, they also threw 1 less interception. So it wound up being 6-5, which is 11 turnovers in one game. That's a lot. Player of the game was Nate Ritter's wide receiver. He had 5 receptions for 95 yards, 2 touchdowns, 19 yards per catch. But yeah, there were some great performances from T. House from Albuquerque having 2.5 sacks. And even quarterbacks had a pretty decent game besides those interceptions, which happens, trust me, it happens. But like Tommy Utah for Salt Lake had 403 yards passing and a touchdown. PJ Slaughter, 249 yards passing with 3 touchdowns. So overall, great game, man. Congratulations to the Adams and Salt Lake. Keep your heads up. You had a fantastic season. Even to make it this far was an honor. So you guys made it very entertaining. And next up, the number 3 Memphis River Runners, sitting at 5-3, took on the number 2 seed Birmingham Fuel, sitting at 5-3, and Birmingham won 24-13. And I was right about this game as well. Now at the half, the Fuel ignited the scoreboard with 145 yards passing, 57 yards rushing, 202 total. They had 4 sacks against The River Runners, 97 yards passing, 22 yards rushing, 119 yards total. They only held the ball for 8 minutes, so not only did the Fuel dominate to start, they didn't take their foot off the gas once they actually did. I mean, they held the ball longer, had a deeper passing game, so they came in ready. So, at the end of the game, passing for the Memphis River Runners, 234 yards. They had 39 yards rushing, 273 yards total. Their time of possession was 18 minutes and 51 seconds with 3 turnovers. The Fuel had 304 yards passing, 77 yards rushing, 381 yards total. They held the ball for 25 minutes and 9 seconds with 2 turnovers. So, the turnover ratio was low. They held the ball longer. They were able to do more with it, and that's why the Fuel wound up coming out with that win. Player of the game was wide receiver Riley Quintero with 9 receptions, 125 yards, 1 touchdown, and went 13.9 yards per catch. But there were other notable performances as well, like Randy Squarebush having 84 yards on 2 touchdowns. G. Vernon had 4.5 sacks in this game for Birmingham. Jay Farnsey coming up with 1 for himself for Birmingham as well. Christian Brown coming up with 304 yards passing and 1 touchdown. And O.J. Bruin even with 234 yards passing and a touchdown. So wonderful, wonderful performances from everybody. Rookies, you guys put on a fantastic performance this season. I am truly proud of each and every one of you. Now it comes down to this. The Albuquerque Adams taking on the Birmingham Fuel in Phoenix, Arizona, of course, at the Arizona's Scorpion Stadium. And, we're happy to host them, and it should be a great game. But again, I think that the Albuquerque Adams will be victorious in this season. They're going to walk away with the championship ring. So we'll see. I was right about these last 2 games, so we'll see how well it shakes up. The championship game will take place on December 13th, Sunday, and it's going to be a great game to watch. As I said, it should premiere at 9:10 p.m. on SFL YouTube channel, and I'll leave that channel in the description for you to easily access. But should be great games. Hope to see all of you there. And if you want more information about us, becoming a player, and even to join our Discord, visit www.simulationfl.net and stay tuned for my in-depth 4th and Goal interview with Mr. Damon Simeons of the Houston Hyenas, owner and wide receiver. All right, everybody, welcome back to my 4th and Goal interview. Tonight's guest is Mr. Damon Simeon, owner of the Houston Hyenas. How you doing?
I'm great. How's it going, Ashley? Glad to be here once again.
Yes.
On the podcast. As you stated, before recording, it's been a while since you and I have talked, on your podcast and just shared some SFL knowledge and so forth. But glad to be here.
Oh man, yeah, it has been years, but I was messing with you. But yeah, so a lot of things have changed since our last talk, and we've actually acquired some new listeners on the radio. So if you don't mind, would you give us a brief overview of yourself? So that could be your age, hometown, some interesting facts, and your favorite NFL team.
Age, yeah.
Come on, man. I'm 30.
I'm a young 40. I'm a young 40. I'm from Houston, Texas. Originally from the inner city of Houston, Texas. I grew up maybe 10, 15 minutes from the Astrodome and so forth. And now I reside west of Houston in a suburban community called Katy, Texas. So I've been here about 3 years or so, but yeah, man, the city of Houston is great and so forth. Has been great to me and my families. I have no complaints about it. You know, Texas is just a great place to live, but I heard Georgia's really nice as well. So
It is.
that's one for you. There you go.
Listen, that's why I haven't left.
And favorite NFL team is the Dallas Cowboys. You know, don't do that. Don't do that.
Come on.
Don't do that. Yeah. Don't do that.
I gotta do better than that. Like,
hey man, our quarterback got hurt. You know, offensive line problems and so forth. New defensive coordinator came in and tried to, you know, bring Algebra 3 with him. I don't even think there's Algebra 3. I think it only goes to 2. But
hey, everybody, he said that, not me.
Had the players so confused and discombobulated, you know. So dudes all out of zone coverage. Oh man, it was just horrible the first couple of weeks. But the defense has picked up, looked pretty good, you know, the past few games and so forth. But at least we're not, you know, giving up 38 to 40 points, you know.
Listen, trust me. Or be winning by 15 and then just lose it. Listen,
I see you supporting your red and black for the Falcons.
Yeah, but it's hard sometimes, man. Like they do dumb stuff. You know what? We can have a whole podcast on that. I swear. But yeah, you just got to roll with the punches, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tell us, how did you find the league and how long have you actually been a part of it?
Man, I mean, a lot of people know this story already, but for the new people that's out there watching, this had to be about 2012, I want to say. And I'm at work. I'm at my cubicle at work, and you know, at the time, APF wasn't a big thing, but there was a community for it. You know, within myself and a lot of other people, such as guys like Big Play Killer was one of the guys that I followed on YouTube. Ryan Moody was another one. There's another guy named Rosales. Then we had what's the guy name? I want to say Apex. Apex, he's from like the New York area, so forth. He's the one that really started the movement for ESPN NFL 2K5 and, you know, All Pro Football in reference to comparing those two games, which was made by 2K Sports, to EA Sports, you know, Madden NFL. And so every day I'm like just on YouTube, just Googling, I mean, not just Googling, but searching, you know, All Pro Football. And then so one day I come across, you know, this video that says SFL, you know, I think it was like week 3, week 4, I think it was season 3 or so, highlights. And so I click on them, and you know, I'm watching these, and I'm at work, and you know, I'm already, you know, all about the game. But then there's this commentating behind the game. It's not the end game commentating. You know, it's the commissioner of the SFL, you know, which we call the great one now, Cameron Irvine, who's like one of the best commentators I've ever heard, next to Gus Johnson. I'll say that.
Okay.
Now that's pretty big if I'm putting him next to Gus Johnson, because Gus is my favorite. I also like Nance as well, but yeah. So and so I'm you know, watching these highlights and so forth about the game, and just Cameron's commentating is what grabs my attention. Me personally, if my attention is not grasped right away when I click on something, I'm moving to the next thing. You know, and it just the commentator grasped my attention, and it held me there. Now I'm at work, and I'm supposed to be working. And on this job I'm at, I'm on a daily metric scale where we're supposed to produce a certain amount of cases per day. I wasn't worried about them cases that day.
Still catching up.
Exactly. So you know, and then also, you know, I used to be on YouTube, you know, just keeping up with my videos that I was putting out or so forth, and I basically started. I have a video that some people call me a YouTube sensation about, which I don't see that.
Oh, you gotta give me the link to that, bro. I'm gonna put it on here.
Well, basically, it's that video was how to create all 32 NFL teams within All Pro Football. And basically, you know, that was something that I stumbled across. It wasn't that I was like, trying to figure out how to do it or whatever. It was that the girlfriend that I was dating at the time ended up deleting my roster somehow. So what I found out is that, okay, I still had my seasons, within the game. So I ended up finding out that when I go into the season and then when I quit out the season, it would have that roster file for that season or whatever. And I was like, wait a minute. So if I create, I can end up doing, like the NFL conferences or so, because the game only allows you to create 8 teams. And so I can put like NFC and AFC North, AFC, NFC and NFC East, so I had all those like on one file or whatever. So that's how I ended up coming across that or whatever. So it was just, and I ended up making a video about it. I think the video has like over 75,000 views now, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
I have not seen one check from YouTube about it yet. So
you got to call them about that, man.
And actually, this was back in 2010. It's been 10 years. I have not seen a dime. So
yeah, plus interest.
Exactly. but yeah, but that's how I stumbled across the SFL. And at the time, I was also a part of the Casual Dope Gamers league, which is ran by TJ, the owner of the Baltimore Crabs. And so I wanted to learn more about the SFL. Then TJ ended up getting a team with the SFL. I know I could have sent, a message through YouTube or whatever, because he did have his information on there. I could send him an email or so, Cam, speaking of, and reference as far as how to, be more part of the league. Or I could have asked TJ, but I was like, I wanted to get in on my own, me, I don't like, piggybacking off someone else and so forth. So, but when TJ got a team, TJ was the first owner to have real players on his team, such as he had Ramos Lynn. I think Ramos, which is the owner of Mexico City. Ramos had a cornerback at the time. He had Eddie Gage. Eddie Gage was a strong safety, as he is still today, with his team in Arizona. Then he had Dwayne Blackwell. Dwayne Blackwell is another guy who was big at the time, playing all pro football, 2K8, which goes by the name. His real name is Kevin Davis, but his gamer tag is Showtime 318 or something like that, 318 or 718. He's up from the New York area as well. So you can search him on YouTube also. Okay. He has some old videos on there, some really good work on there. And who else did he? Yeah, he had another guy from all his players were from CAG, from Casual Dope Gamers. And another guy named Nick Too Quick.
Okay, listen.
and I think Nick Too Quick played receiver. I played receiver as well. He had another guy named Elliot Snyder from the league, played running back. And like I said, he was the first person to have, real people. Before TJ came into the league, everyone had created fantasy players or whatever, Some of them had some weird names too. You had a guy named Skeleton P-Funk,
Skeleton
You had guys with crazy names like that, and so one guy named, his name was Red Feather. I think that was his last name.
Yes, Joseph Red Feather. What Red Feather?
Yeah. I think he was the quarterback for OKC or something like that. So it was just some weird things happening and going on. But like I say, when TJ introduced that basically set the tone and the turn for the SFL to grow. At the time, a lot of the owners, I want to say at that time it was probably 6 to 8 owners in the league or so. Probably let's say it was about 6 at the time, owners in the league at that time, and a lot of them didn't want to move in the direction of having real people in the league and having them on their team and in their locker room and so forth, because one, they didn't want to deal with the attitudes, and the different personalities. Now that right there speaks your leadership right there. If you're not able to work with other people and understand their different type of background and so forth, or where they come from, then your leadership skills are horrible. You shouldn't be an owner. That just me plain and simple as that. So And that's why a lot of those old guys are no longer here,
Yeah.
and and some of them were great friends of Cam's, but they're no longer here because he had a vision, and basically TJ, boosted that vision for him, and now today we have over 400 and almost 450 something players in the league. That's not including everyone, but that's just the players within the league. It's like 400 something. It's crazy. They were talking about contracts that was just submitted. Over 400 some contracts was just submitted last week. Like,
Right. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
To see how the league has grown is very interesting. And I didn't know that TJ played such an intricate part in the growth of the league. So,
Yeah.
Hopefully one day he'll give us an interview, but he will not budge, man.
Dude, we have been saying for years that we believe TJ works for the CIA, and
it's something. Because I'm like, I've asked him countless times, hey, come on the show. You can block your camera. No, Ash, I'm not gonna do it. Oh, okay. I did get one interview with him though.
Okay.
It's on the website.
Mm-hmm.
We were just discussing about Baltimore and things like that, but I was happy to get that because I'm like, this is great. But you alluded to a couple things I kind of wanted to bring up. Now, when you said Cam was one of the best broadcasters that you've heard, people say the same thing about you, and that you have one of those iconic voices and your delivery and everything. And I think one of the most memorable recently that you had was when your son was on the show. And he had to stop. And he had to go for you. And then he's on. He just wanted to help you with the broadcast because he had so much insight at this young age.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the compliment, and I've heard that I do have a fan base and a following in reference to my commentating. I do have a pretty unique style, should I say, but I'm very humble, and I don't think that I'm quite there yet. I think I still have growth in that department. So I also have like sometimes I stumble across when I'm pronouncing some of the players' names, and that's from dyslexia that I have. And so a lot of people didn't know that I had, dyslexia, that at sometimes when I'm reading a name or so, the letters switch. I can see the letters switching or so, or I see something totally different, at times. So Cam was unaware of it. Mike Daggs, the director of the broadcast team, was unaware of it as well. And I brought it to their attention. This is why this happens sometimes. So I'm like, oh, okay, great. Thank you for letting us know. And there was people that was making fun of me about it. As well. So and I think that's one of the reasons why I came out instead of hiding behind it. And not speaking on it, because then once I spoke on it and opened up about it, I got some feedback in reference to, hey, we didn't know, and so forth. Sorry that that you have that or so, but it happens. I'm not the only one in the world with it, so
And that's true, but that's another reason, like, why people have to be very careful. When they're trying to make jokes, because you don't know what people are really going through.
Exactly. You really don't.
So hopefully, this is a great league, and we do have a lot of great people here. And I love the fact that even though you have dyslexia, there are other people that have other things that are happening with them. You have this place where we all can come together. You can share ideas. You can figure out who you are and what you're capable of, Because did you really think that you would be a broadcaster at any point in your life?
No. I didn't think. I mean, anytime in my life, I never, because I had an issue with when I was younger as a kid. I had an issue with stuttering, and I actually, speaking of what you just stated, you have to be careful and making fun of people. I used to make fun of a guy in our neighborhood who was a lot older than me. This guy had a real bad stuttering problem. And because of me mocking him all the time, I started to stutter. It was weird, you know? And I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
I
great.
mean that was like really, really weird. And I suffered with that for maybe 3 years or so. And at the time this happened, I was like in the, I want to say, third or fourth grade or so. And then, so, it is like you said, you got to be careful as what you do to someone else, because it just may fall back on you. And that was like really embarrassing, to have like a stutter problem when before I never had one, for one. And then I have to think about saying a word before saying it.
Hmm.
So, I mean, that's just something that I taught myself, is that, okay, well, let me say the word in my head first, and then I'll, say it with, through my mouth and so forth. But going back to the broadcast when the baby was when the baby was on, my wife had just put him to sleep, and she had fed him, put him to sleep, and she was like, "Hey, I'd have to make a run right quick. The baby's asleep. I'm gonna shut the door. You can still do your broadcast or whatever." I was like, "You sure?" She was like, "Yeah, he shouldn't wake up." And so maybe 10 minutes before the broadcast, before the game is about to start, and my color guy at the time, for that game was Charles Doherty. And Charles said, "Man, it would be funny if the baby wakes up." Why did Charles say that? All of a sudden, I'm looking in my bedroom.
First.
I'm looking in my bedroom, and I see his head pop up. So he in his crib, and his head pops up, and I say,
Yep.
"Charles, you're wrong for that." So I grab him, put his pacifier in his mouth. He's sitting in my lap. He's just calm. He's just cool. He's just chilling. Then all of a sudden, as soon as Cam said, "You're live," he started making little noises. And I'm going through my intro. Every game I do an intro. I try to do something totally different from each game within an intro, and I do something in reference to, um, what has led up to that point of the season for both teams and so forth. And I'll throw in a little bit that happened the previous game through that intro. But yeah, I'm trying to go through this intro, man, and it's the weekend of 9/11, and so forth. And I had something special, man, and I just couldn't get it. Because I'm trying to rock him, and as I'm rocking him, my head bouncing. Look, Ashley, my head bouncing. I'm trying to read.
Oh man, Cam need to pay off for this.
Yeah, so I just left. I didn't say, "Hey, I'll be right back," and nothing.
No.
Because you can hear it. He started crying, and the funny part is I played it back for my wife, and she's like, "I am so sorry." I was like, "Hey, I got something I need you to listen to." She was like, "What is it?" I'll say, "Oh, just listen to this intro. I think I really did really good on this intro." I played that intro back. She just, "I'm so sorry." But that was hilarious. It was pretty funny though, man.
He was following
And
their footsteps. That's why when Cam said, "Hey, we're live in 5," you know what I mean?
then, so it was his feeding time again. So that's why he woke up. And then I got him in my arms. I'm making him a bottle and everything, trying to keep him quiet. But I also muted, on my end over here, and I can hear Cam. And this is coming through my headphones. I hear Cam. Was a great thing that the SFL don't have a baby. So I mean, the SFL headquarters don't have a baby. Well, can you imagine a baby at SFL headquarters? That was hilarious, dude.
Oh man. Oh, one day they will. That is going to be hilarious too. I hope.
Oh man.
But that's good stuff, man. And
Yeah.
but and the thing is, when I had Mike Daggs on a couple weeks ago, and he's trying to get people to join the broadcasting crew.
He's trying to get women to join as well.
Oh, sideline reporters.
Right. I told him I'll do it, but
some Pam Olivers and some Jenny Tafts. Yeah, come on.
I guess people are kind of apprehensive because, they hear people like you and like T-Roy, and then they get, I guess, a little apprehensive about wanting to do it because they don't want to sound like they don't know what they're talking about.
But see, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But that's the amazing part about this league is that, when I started, I really didn't have any experience, going back to season 5, it's in the playoffs, and, Cam is live broadcasting in the playoffs, and he had another guy by the name of Greg Morris, who goes by San Antonio Corky, who was once the owner of the San Antonio Vaqueros.
Okay.
So Greg and Cam both lived in San Antonio. So Greg used to goes to Cam's house, and they would, broadcast the games together, so forth. And then so I had posted inside of the chat on Twitch. I said, Cam, if you would have me, I said, if you don't mind, I said, I would love to drive to San Antonio and broadcast the game with you. I've never broadcast a game before, or did anything or whatever and such that matter. But he ended up calling me and he was like, hey, was you serious? I didn't think he saw the comment, because he didn't say anything on air about it, or he didn't type anything in the chat like he normally would. But he ended up calling me or reaching out to me, and he was like, hey, was you serious? And I was like, yeah. I was like, dude, San Antonio is only 3 hours. I need to get away from the house anyway.
I get that. Give me a reason.
My wife and daughter drive me crazy at times now. But no, I was like, yeah, dude, I don't have no problem making that trip. And he was like, man, if you make that trip, man, that would be awesome. And then Cam ended up getting a guy from another league. I think it's Apex something. This guy adding leagues or something like that. Or so, no, it's PS 81, I think is what it is. Okay. APS 31, something like that. I don't know. I can't remember what it is, but the league is ran by a player in our league as well.
Okay.
DJ Majesty.
Okay, no DJ.
Who is Mike Peters is his name. Yeah, so he has his own list. Sorry, Mike. I know it's PX. I want to say PX.
Don't worry, you're gonna get DM.
Yeah. So and Cam was like, we're gonna do the first ever 4-man commentating crew. So that was like my first time, and basically, we did the color, Cam did the full broadcast. But if you go back and you listen to that, and this was for the season 5 championship game, and so if you go back and listen to it, I was kind of low with it, because I didn't want to be too loud for one, and I was still in that shell, and not trying to mess up. But once I and after that, the next following season, Cam was going through some things, and I'm not going to say exactly what it was. Hell, I don't even know exactly what it was, to be honest with you. But, so he ended up having Andy do a lot of the broadcasting for season 6. Was it season 6 or I think it was season 7 it was. And then so that's how it started with other people really get involved into broadcasting. Andy was the first one that came in and to start broadcasting when Cam took a leave of absence, and so forth. And I was like, hey man, you know what? I believe I can do this, And so I started practicing, or whatever, and so forth. And it just came second nature to me because it's football. It's something that I know, something that, it's a game that I've played and I've been around, my entire life and so forth. So I know all the penalties when, a flag come in. When a flag come in at a certain time, I can say, okay, this is what it's going to be, and so forth. And, or even by being so much involved with the game itself, all pro football, sometimes there's a face mask and people are like, how's there a face mask? I didn't even see the player hand touch the face or whatever. But anytime you see a player, they do like this,
Yeah, it's a face mask.
It's a face mask. They're gonna call it, dude.
It's not
that's
hard.
that's what that is, So, but man, broadcasting is really fun, and I would encourage any woman to get involved. And one thing that I tell Cam and Mike all the time is that I want to be an asset to this league. And this is what I tell new people coming in, like rookies and so forth, or even especially new owners. When people come to me for advice about being an owner, and I tell them, I said, hey, talk about what you're going to benefit to the league. Don't think about what you're going to gain from it, or think that you're going to gain some type of popularity from it for just being an owner, because really you're not, but talk about what you're gonna benefit as you being an owner. How are you gonna be an asset to the league? So that's what I want people to do for this league, is to be an asset to the league and not just allow the league to be an asset for you. Yes, it's an outlet for us. It helps us, it entertains us. It's a great community to be a part of. But the league is continually growing. And we need people like that are going to come in and who's just so enthused about helping and pushing the league to grow in the direction, that it needs to be. Trust me, Cam is all ears when it comes to ideas and so forth. He's not the type of person, and this is a term that I love to use, even within my marriage. There's no big I's and no little U's, which means that I am bigger than you, and so forth. So, I mean, that's one of the things that I've noticed about Cam, even from the first time I met him. The dude is just really down to earth, and he's a hell of a basketball player. That's just going off topic there, but
I still haven't seen it. I have not seen him play. I've heard that he is that.
There's no footage on it. But man, one championship game I went up. I think this is when he first moved to Denton, Texas. When he moved from San Antonio up to North Texas. And I went up there, man, and I told him, I said, hey, man, I said, I'd like to go, for us to go play basketball. Because he, told me that he played or whatever. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And we ended up going to a YMCA not too far from his house and so forth. And, man, we had a really good time, man. I didn't think Cam could play, but dude got some skills. He can shoot. Hey, now he had an unorthodox shot, like those Ball brothers. Like Lonzo and LaMelo Ball. He got one of them crazy shots, but man, because he does like this wind up.
Oh no.
He wind up with it, and when it gets right here and he releases it, it has a perfect rotation on it, and it's not touching the rim. It's going straight, nothing but net. And I mean, we played about 4 or 5 games that day.
And I have to see some video on this. And
yeah,
when you said that, I kind of thought of Charles Barkley. You ever seen him try to play golf?
Oh yes.
It's like, was it one of them kind of?
It's unorthodox like that, but yeah, it
works.
But it works. He's really, like I say, he's a really good dude, man. Very down to earth. So the women that they're reaching out to try to get involved, I would say do it. Because it's going to help the league. It's going to help you come out of the shell that you're in as well. And you never know what door that may open for you. I mean, you never know. Something may come your way within the far future, near future, or whatever, and that. And then and to the point where that you're broken out of the shyness of public communication. It helped me. I'm a grad student in college, and before the pandemic happened, we were all on campus and so forth. And in each class, we had to be in a group and we had to do a public presentation. So actually, me broadcasting here in the SFL helped me with my public speaking, and come out of that fear of being in front of, other people, my peers and so forth, and, trying to, produce this production, of this assignment that I had to do in front of people and so forth. Because at first I would get up to, you're supposed to be timed. Sometimes it has to be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes or so, and then so especially on the 20-minute ones, you're up there and and now you got like three to four other people up there, which is mostly in a group of four. But you're trying to do your time limit or whatever, and sometimes I would just go on and just start laughing and just ad libbing.
I do know that.
And like I say, that helped me out a lot, especially when I was an undergrad. It really helped me a lot during those undergrad years or so forth. But man, like I say, I would encourage anyone to get involved with the broadcast team, because and for those out there who's wondering why I haven't been broadcasting, because I started off, last season broadcasting, and then I had to step away. The reason being for that is because homework just became, I'm like towards the end of me graduating my master's degree. I only have 2 classes left now, but man, the classes got harder. And I was like, bro. I was like, I got to step away. I'm not available. I was supposed to do SFLm. They wanted me to do that, and I wanted to get into that because I feel that when you're a broadcaster, you have a totally complete advantage when it comes to scouting a team, for one. And the funny part was that they would put me on games where that I had to play one of the teams the next following week. So I was most definitely getting a upfront and close scouting report,
Okay, and that helps.
That helps.
Definitely helps.
And I really wanted to do SFLm because it would have helped me with learning the rookies and learning some of these rookies' names when them coming into into the SFL and so forth. It would be like I say, learning the rookies, and I can be able to say, okay, I would like to reach out to this individual or so forth. This rookie or whatever, and like I said, I can be scouting the rookie while I'm broadcasting as well.
Right.
That's just the way how I look at it. I have the opportunity to scout the same time I'm broadcasting, which is great, to be able to do and so forth. But hey, hopefully I'll be back next season or so. No, I take that back.
What was important? I mean, you spent all this time in school getting ready for masters. And
look at here.
No.
I tell my wife every day, I'm tired of writing papers. I can't remember who I was talking to. I was talking to somebody the other day. Oh, it was Chris Joseph. Chris Joseph, he's in the SFL. He was on the Houston Hyenas team, the defensive end. Now he's over with London. Due to an issue we had in reference to contract, the team announced the player was re-signing with the team before the league announced it. So that voided that contract, and he had to go and play elsewhere, or he could have set the season out. So he said, I'm not going to set the season out. I'm going to go ahead and go elsewhere. That's for a season. So I was like, okay, cool. But Chris lives up in another suburban town north of Houston, which is called Humble, Texas. And real funny guy or whatever. But he and I was talking. He was like, so you going to go get your PhD? I was like, hell no. Dude, I'm done.
What time? Shoot.
Dude, I said, dude, I think it takes 5 years to get your PhD. No, sir. Not me. I said, I may do a few certifications, but other than that, nope.
Oh, I understand that, man. You're already doing it now. So tell me, speaking of which, how has your team been dealing with that news, and how have you been dealing with that news of those voided contracts, man? I felt for you, man. I know that's hard.
It is hard. It's crazy because I normally don't promote the player signings until after we have signed everyone. Not until really after the free agency period. That's normally when I would push out, that hey, we signed this player at this rate or whatever. But prior to the re-signing period starting, the re-signing period, for those who don't know, basically is when a team is re-signing players that are going to come back to the team. In the SFL, we only have 1-year contracts. So each season, around week 10, 11, and 12, I'll reach out to my players that are on my team for that season, I'll ask them all, hey, I'm just reaching out to you and let you know, hey, I enjoyed you on the team. You're having a great season and so forth. The front office is wanting to know, will your player be returning back to the team for the next following season? And, the players would reach back. I'm coming back the next season to be with the Hyenas. Or someone would say, I would like to test free agency, but keep a window open for me. And I think that gives the player, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all whatsoever. But I think it gives the player so much power when you say, keep the window open for you. Now, you're testing free agency to go and be with another team, but you want me to keep a window open for you. So let's just say there's a spot that's available that your player plays, but you're testing free agency, but you don't let me know that you're going to go ahead and go with another team. Now, that leaves me in the blind side because I'm not reaching out to another player to fill your spot because I'm expecting you, you know what I'm saying? To maybe come back or so, and that was an issue that we had, but I'll get back to that in a moment. But so, like I said, I would reach out to them. Hey, we would like for you to come back. Player would say, I'm coming back, or I'm testing free agency or so forth. Okay, cool. So then the resigning period starts. Well, before this resigning period starts, we start working on contracts and so forth or whatever, seeing, could we give a player their full value they ended the season with, or are we going to have to chop some stuff off,
Right.
From their ratings, or either from player animations or so forth. But then again, so what happened was that Mike Baker, our defensive tackle, came to me. He's like, hey, who's running the social media? And I said, well, I am, but I don't have the time. I really don't have the time. He was like, I would love to come and run the social media. He said, I've ran social media for youth programs, that I've been a part of. And he was like, he showed me his work, showed me a couple of graphics and so forth, showed me the Facebook page of some of those youth programs that he was part of or whatever. And I was like, dude, I can really use you, because like I say, I don't have the time to push out the social, the social media stuff for the team like it should be. And so, he and I talked or whatever, and Mike asked for all of the players, names and then their position and numbers that's coming back for the team. So I provided that information to him, and I do recall informing him that we can't post anything until the league announces it. And I think maybe I'm thinking that maybe he thought that since I sent that information over to him,
that it was okay.
That it was okay to go ahead and push it out. We have already submitted the contracts to the league, and as everyone knows, the league was a delay on approving a lot of contracts or so. But it is what it is, So
yeah,
we posted it. We got in trouble for it. But to answer your question, yes, I was ticked off about it. My front office team was ticked off about it. The players was even ticked off about it. There's 2 players on the team that's talking about not playing for anybody, next season. They're just going to step down, and they're not going to step down. They're just going to hold out, basically. And that's Kentez Johnson and Brady Clark. Brady has stepped up and wanted to take a front office spot with the team as well. So he's the president of player operations for the team. And Kentez is co-GM. He was the GM, but he's in college as well. So he wanted to step down from having full general manager duties and step down and become co-GM. And he's helping Ethan on, when he can, and so forth. But yeah, we were all disappointed about it. And there was a conversation that was had with the commissioner, and the commissioner did it. He was like, "Oh, I can see what I can do," or so forth about this, or whatever. And so I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I'm not gonna get too much in detail with it, but it was just a disappointing because the communication was all off. It was done all wrong. It was just weird, and the players were upset. I was upset. Players was like, well, what can you do about it? Dude, I ain't nothing I can do about it. It's a rule, or so forth, because it used to be that the player can't say anything about it. But then the rule was changed with that the player can announce it, but the team cannot announce it before the league approves it. And I understand the reasoning for that. As Cam went on the Dave Access show, and he said, well, these rules are in place because whatever contract is incomplete, or the value of that contract is not right. The league has to approve that contract. We have to oversee that contract and make sure that it's right for the in the benefit of the player. Because actually, let's just say, okay, you're a player for Arizona, right? And let's just say you go into free agency, you come over to Houston, and I say, okay, and I don't communicate this with you, and I shave off, some of your ratings or so. Let's just say your arm strength. You may have an arm strength of 90. Let's just say if I wanted to cut off 5 points of that and of your arm strength, and then 5 points of your consistency or so, just so for me to get you at a certain number, for me to make cap, or whatever. That's shady, so I can understand it. Or remove an animation. And once I post the contract, you're part of the DM along with the league office affiliation. Mm-hmm. And you just go in and you just say, yes, I accept, but you don't read it. You don't read it. This is how people get effed up in real life, and I always go back to the Flintstones, the movie when Fred Flintstone, he ended up getting a promotion, but he didn't read
the fine print. Read the
fine print. And everybody got fired,
Right. It's a perfect example too.
That's a perfect example from it, and people look at me and be like, why you reference to the Flintstone? Well, that was an educated moment right there for me. I don't know about for you, but for me, anytime we're dealing with a contract, I'm going to read it. And if I don't understand it, I'm going to let somebody else read it, as well, for a double check.
Yeah, gotcha. But I'm not gonna hold you too long. I know. I just got. But just one more question for you. Mm-hmm. What were some of the changes? Well, actually, kind of two. It's a two-parter. So, are you going to ever retire Dr. Sims, the player? And what are your plans for next season as far as the Houston Hyenas?
Both of those are great questions. It's crazy you ask about the retirement, because I have thought about it. I have thought about it a lot, and not only because I love Dr. Sim. That's like my alter ego. That's my alter ego, man, and I love, because I played high school football, and then I quit playing high school football. One, it was too damn hot.
Yeah, I bet.
It was too hot, and I'm like, I'm going to Agadir. I'm going to Agadir to play football, to play basketball. But yeah, and not making, like, football is my favorite sport. I watch football before I watch basketball. Now, I love playing basketball, but football is my game, And, I wanted to play college football. I wanted to go to, UT or either to Miami. Those were my schools, coming up. But, that was just something that just didn't happen. So, when having a player in the SFL, man, it's outstanding. It's a great feeling or whatever, to have, a player, and then, to be the number one receiver and, receiving yards, touchdowns, receptions, and so forth. But the last few seasons, he has kind of like, fell off. He hasn't been productive, as somebody said, because he's old as hell. I can't remember who said that. Somebody said, yeah, because he's old. That's why. But I have thought about retiring the player. Reason being is because it allow other players. Somebody once said records are meant to be broken. Sure. And I feel that if I'm lingering around, for so long, that my records won't ever be broken. And I think that other people should have that opportunity, to be able to break, records in the SFL. But there's one owner every year that pitches, I think we should get rid of owner players.
I can guess who that is.
Oh, man. It's crazy. I mean, he once had her own a player, but he let his player go. He retired his player and so forth. I understand that it makes room for other players as well, and my argument to that is, it's boring just being an owner.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
owners meetings are horrible. I don't like them. I don't participate in them.
Too long.
Exactly, because it's owner meetings are set up for arguments, and that's what it's about. It's about arguing your point as far as why this rule should be changed or why this rule should be added, and so forth. And it can get brutal at times. It's crazy in there. But yeah, like I said, being an owner is boring. That's why I'm a commentator.
Right. Something else.
I even joined the beat team. I wrote one article. I haven't wrote another one. I wrote one article, but like I said, I mean, school's just been so busy. Life has been so busy with the baby now.
Yeah, which is understandable.
Yeah, DJ is 8 months now, and man, this dude is, when he wakes up, I need everybody's attention, not just one person. Everybody's attention needs to be on me. So, and that's something else I even dealt with, male postpartum depression. Yeah, when he came home. So, I didn't even know that was male postpartum depression. Which was crazy because my wife wanted him to be in the bed with us. I was like, man, get that dude out of my bed.
Yeah.
I'm the king here. Dude taking out my shine. Yeah, I'm jealous of a baby, but that's one of the the symptoms of male postpartum depression. Not only that, you go into a personal depression because you're not getting attention.
Yeah.
The baby's getting all the attention. And also COVID happened at the same time he was born. We jumped right into a pandemic at that time as well. So I was excuse me, depressed about it's just crazy how I'm a social individual. I like being around people. I like the fact of working from home, but I love being in the office setting, because I get to move around, chat with people, flirt a little bit.
Nuts, man. Don't get in trouble.
Yeah. But but it's nothing harmful or whatever. I just love socializing, and I wasn't able to socialize besides with 3 people, my wife, my daughter, and and the baby. And I'll be like, man, look, I gotta get out of this house. This is crazy.
Yeah.
But that's that.
That's everybody, though. I think that this year is a definite trying time for a lot of families and a lot of individuals, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. It's just been tiring. So I get it.
Yeah, it's been crazy. And to go to your next question in reference to the team, the before the voided contract situation happened, we were excited about the season. I mean, we still are excited about the season, but we were really excited about the season because we were getting a lot of our players back. Although we lost our number one guy in the secondary, which is Everett Garrison. Everett, stated that I heard you had something to do with that.
Well,
That's what a little birdie told me. That's what a little birdie told me. But no, he already informed me. He said, "Hey, I wanted to test free agency." I was like, "All right, cool. I leave the door open for you." But he asked, "He leave the door open for me." And I really didn't go out in free agency for the cornerback spot. Reason being because a lot of the cornerbacks that were on free agency retired. A lot of the guys retired, or they had the bands if they wanted to play for a certain team that another family member played on or so. I can totally understand that, So I mean, but in the draft, my goodness, there's some outstanding talent in this upcoming draft for that spot. But like I say, before all that contract situation happened, we were excited because we had Brady. Let's talk about the contracts that got expired. Brady Clark, Chris Joseph, Kentez Johnson,
and our kicker, Nico Cappuccino. Those were the 4 contracts that were voided. Really, 5 contracts were voided. Mike Baker as well. But by Mike Baker being part of the front office as the director of communications, and by him being a player who posted his own returning or resigning back to the team, his was, I mean, you know, it wasn't voided because once he was a player who did it, and then he's a front office member that posted it as well.
Okay.
So, well, by him being a front office member, you know, and posting it.
Wait,
so
wasn't Kentez a front office?
co-GM does not qualify as.
Got it.
What was told to me, it doesn't qualify as a legitimate front office spot, you know.
Okay.
So because they're but that's that. So, you know, Brady Clark led the team in INTs, you know, which was our free safety. Kentez was our quarterback, you know, our leader of the offense and so forth. Had a pretty great season, threw 30 touchdowns, threw 30 plus touchdowns, threw 30 some INTs as well. But it was crazy because that last game versus Vancouver, he had a large gap within his touchdowns and INTs, and all of a sudden, I think he threw 8 interceptions that game.
we over here competing with the most interceptions. So I get it.
Yeah, that was crazy, but
yeah.
So, you know, so then now I gotta fill 10 spots. I know 11 spots. I have to fill 11 spots now through the draft.
Or half the team, man.
Yeah, that's half the team. So that's that. Yeah, but
yeah.
So we still feel that we have the chance and the opportunity to compete. It was great last season getting back to the playoffs after missing the playoffs one season, you know, the season 14. Although we finished the season at 6-6, that's not good for me. You know, I don't like to have help. No, I don't like to need help to get into the playoffs. You know, we needed help. We needed Arizona to lose. We needed some other team to lose or so forth. Some teams to win, and, you know, to push us in and so forth. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna end here shortly. But so
I said hi. She could be on too.
So I lost my concentration. See, that's the dyslexia kicking in right there. I will lose focus.
Okay.
Exactly. So, you know, we was, you know, losing players, you know, that were benefit to the team in certain spots. But like I said, I don't like the fact that I need help to get in. I like to be able to get into the playoffs because my team played well enough through the season to win games, you know, to push us over, right, and to get into the playoffs or whatever. You know, we lost some close games. Close games we lost, man. The Florida game, they was beating us the entire first half. The second half we came back, and I believe if we had, you know, a little bit more time on the clock, we win that game. You know, that's just me speaking. I feel that we would have won that game if we had some more time on the clock. Yeah. We lost the game beating Portland. Portland haven't won a game at this point. You know, we beating Portland 17-0 in the fourth quarter, and they come back. You know, that was crazy. You know, we got mauleted by Baltimore, man. So
yeah, it is Baltimore. I feel you. We did the same thing.
We had so many turnovers that game. We had fumbles in that game. We had, you know, we threw picks in that game. And Baltimore played an outstanding defense that game and so forth. They basically did not allow our offense to move downfield. You know, we lost a close game to Louisiana as well. And, you know, we allowed Reggie Streeter to rush for over 300, you know, plus yards or so, who was the league MVP as well. But I feel that, and I blame that game on myself for defensive reasons, because I could have added a certain stunt in there that would have basically had my defensive ends playing, contain or so, or forcing the running back inside or pushing that tackle up to not allow the running back to get outside and break for the yardage that he did that game. But there's
you lose. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. You win and you lose. But I'm just saying that, if we win these games, these close ones, we don't need help, getting in. So
I get that.
So that's basically that.
Thank you so much for being on the show, man. I really do appreciate it. And please come back whenever you want to. Doors always open.
No problem. You're more than welcome. You and I, we have a really cool relationship. I call you sis, you call me brother, or so forth. It's always a great time of getting with you and collaborating, and just sharing knowledge and just talking about life or whatever. You've coached me, I've coached you, so forth, through conversations or whatnot. It's just a great friendship. That's one thing I love about the SFL, man. You build friendships with people.
That's true.
From not just around the country,
around the world.
We got folks here that's from England, or Great Britain,
Portugal,
exactly. Australia. So it's amazing. How people are starting to find this league in different areas of the globe. So yeah, man. I always appreciate coming on for you. I know there are times you'll ask me, and I'm like, I'm not available.
But then I get it, with school, with family, with life, baby, I totally get it. So the times that we do have for each other, I'm always grateful for, but I cannot let you go without giving you the last word. So that can be a song, that can be a poem, or that could be a shout out, that face.
All right.
The floor is yours.
My last word is, and it's funny that you asked that. I mean, that you're giving me this platform, because this just came to mind, and it's something that I really need for myself. And at this moment, is which it's a Bible verse. It's in Psalms, and it's forgive me for not remembering the chapter, but it is verse 1 of the chapter, and it's, I look to the hills which come at my help coming from the Lord. That's for anybody out there. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all your desires will come true. So that's that. And the reason why I say that, Ashley, I'm just going to share here on your platform, is that most people here in the SFL knows that, I'm a Christian and so forth, and that certain things I don't like, or so forth, or certain topics or discussions I don't like to be made or be a part of, or so forth. But I myself, I'm going to say, and this is through this pandemic, has not been leaning on my faith, and if you are a believer, this is the time to really lean on your faith and trust in God and trust in your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, if that's what you believe. I know that we all have free will, we have choice. That's what God gave us, was a free will and choice for us to make. But I just want to say that if you are a believer, now's the time to lean on Him, as I have not done so, and I'm about to start. So that's my word for anyone out there who wants to listen. And everyone, peace.
Peace.